Right, let's do some stuff. I'm going to just wash my bike today, just show you how I wash it. It's already raining, so it's a bit wet. What I will do is take a pressure washer, which we luckily have here on the farm. I'm just going to literally just make it wet. So the idea isn't really to clean it particularly with the pressure washer. And I've got the pressure down quite low because this is adjustable. So this is, you know, like a small Karcher pressure washer that you might have at home. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to get all of the sort of bugs and the dirt wet. And what that will do is start to loosen the dirt. So, because I actually am a professional external cleaner, cleaning a motorbike, it's the same sort of thing really, and this is how I would do it. So yeah, what am I doing? I'm sort of taking care not to get too close to anything, and specifically like around, well, bearings and stuff like that, but they're so good these days, the quality of them is so high that chances are pretty low that you're going to damage a bearing with a pressure washer, especially this low pressures that we're using. Get some of the bugs off of the front with the pressure washer. Right, so I've put the bike up on track stands because it's so much easier to clean the wheels. There we go, I can just spin the wheels now while I'm cleaning it, which is super handy. Right, let's turn that pressure washer off. No need to be using that while we're cleaning. So in here I've got like a little pump sprayer, and this is from IK. This is like quite a professional brand, and in there all I've got literally is some car washing soap with wax in it. So yeah, just spray everything with that. If I use this pump sprayer, it will mean I'll use less soap, so it's cheaper. That's one thing, and also I can make sure I get it in places where I possibly couldn't have done. Lots of people use like a foam sprayer. Well, it's the same thing. It might be quicker to just foam spray this, and the reason why people use a foam sprayer is to penetrate those little sort of spaces that you couldn't easily penetrate. Another thing that when you're using soap is that soap will break up the surface tension of water. So you should see that as you apply the soap, the beads of water that were there disappear, they run off the bike. And that is there's a chemical in the soap that will literally start breaking up the oils and all the sort of dirt. So that's why soap's so important when you even when you're just washing your hands, because it's that surface tension that you need to break up. Right, so there's quite a strong mix of soap in there because it's raining, but I've used like half a litre of that, so that's handy. And then all I'm going to use for the cleaning is I've got an old hard bristle, it's actually like a car tyre cleaning brush. I'm going to use that, and like half a sponge. So there's just a little bit of cold water in there, and starting from the bits you don't want to scratch first, so the screen and the mirrors. So most of the dirt is on the front of the bike, all of the bugs and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do the screen first, because if I do the screen first, if I pick up any dirt on this sponge while I'm doing the rest of the cleaning, I won't scratch the plastic of the screen. Now, there's a lot of bugs on here because I recently went to France for a week on my own, just a little ride in the Vosges mountains, and thoroughly enjoyed myself being all alone and at peace with the world. And I've been waiting a week to get out here and wash the bike. The weather's been terrible, but I can't wait any longer because I got stuff to do. So here we go. So you may notice as well that the soap that I applied isn't really very foamy, and if you want foam, that's fine. It doesn't really do anything particularly. A lot of soap manufacturers just add in foam because people like foam. You know, over the years, people have just got used to soap being foamy, so they add foam for you. So don't worry if you use a soap like I have and it isn't really foaming, because it's not really the point of soap. The point was to break up that surface tension and to start to loosen the dirt. Now the next stage is this sponge. So what's actually happening with the sponge is we're sort of physically moving the dirt, removing it from the surface. And so the pressure washer itself, as you know, like you can clean all kinds of things with a pressure washer, but in reality it'll only clean a small amount of the dirt, because just of the nature of the chemical makeup of water, H2O, in cold form you're relying on the particles of the water to do the cleaning, and without sort of, you know, getting involved and scrubbing it like this, you simply won't remove much, just a light layer on the surface probably. So it's quite important that you do use some kind of cloth or a sponge. I quite often see these videos online where there's some sort of miracle spray that they spray over a truck and then all of a sudden it's gleamingly clean. But it simply doesn't exist. Someone has washed that van, and all there is, the kind of dirt on it is so light that it just rinses off. And the reality is that if you're going to do that, then you know, you're going to have used some kind of relatively strong chemical to get that off. And on a motorbike or a car, there's lots of sort of delicate areas, paint work for example, that you don't want to be spraying with, you know, some strong alkaline or strong acid cleaner. What you want to look for when you buy a soap is something that's as close to pH neutral as you can, and there are plenty of pH neutral products, so there's no reason why you can't find them and buy them. This bike is actually relatively easy to clean. The worst bit is the wheels, but I think it's usually the worst bit on any bike. Especially trying to get in between these spokes. I'm sort of rushing for the video here because I want to not make a huge long video, but this is the kind of approach I've got to take. I've got to tuck my hands in there, and this is where these track stands are so helpful, is that I can now just rotate the wheel round. I mean, I've got to be honest, if you're cleaning your bike and you really want to clean it, you've got to try and get it up in the air in some way. You know, a lot of bikes have got a rear stand, which is great, but then that's only the rear wheel, so it's only half the job. And I would actually say, in many cases, the front wheel's harder to clean than the back wheel, because there's just much less room because you've got the forks and there's usually 2 discs. So a little rinse off, start with the back wheel again. Now there is there's a bit of rubber which would probably be somewhere off the road that I've got stuck onto the tyre there. And for that I probably just used a little bit of brake cleaner once the bike's clean and dry, because you're not going to wash rubber off with a sponge or tar or whatever it might be. It's just not going to happen. You're going to need some sort of solvent to break up that stuff. As you can see, it's the same as the front wheel. You've got to poke your sponge in between all these little gaps. And I've got to be honest, at this stage of the cleaning process, I don't worry too much. I'm just trying to aim for like 99% of it, because after this I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to go over the whole bike with some silicone spray, which I'll spray onto almost all of the bike, avoiding tyres, grips, foot pegs, discs and pads, for obvious reasons, because you don't want to be spraying silicone onto those things. So to be honest with you, I think we're pretty much there with a bit of basic sponge cleaning. I mean, the bike wasn't massively dirty. I was lucky with the weather, although it did rain a tiny bit, and I did ride through a rain shower, so I did flick up quite a bit of dirt on that little bit, but in the same process, that same rain cleared a lot of the bugs off the bike. So sort of yeah, half of one. Now I've noticed that there's a bit of yucky, greasy, yucky stuff building up around here. I haven't had any engine oil leaks, so I'm happy about that. I know a lot of people have. Right, back on with the pressure washer. And then start from the top down. So this is just rinsing. And then what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see that it's only water coming down and not any soap. Because soap usually has salt in it, and salt will obviously leave a stain. If you're ever cleaning your vehicles and you have the luxury of having hot water, it's good to know that actually hot water is excellent for cleaning, getting dirt off, but cold water is better for rinsing. So when you're rinsing the bike off, like I am now, it's definitely worth using cold water instead of hot water for rinsing. Just trying to get inside those gaps of the wheel. All up underneath. Right, there we go. We're looking quite clean already. And I think part of the reason why it's so easy to clean my bike is that I'm always silicone spraying it after I clean it. So it's sort of always got a little kind of waterproof barrier against the dirt. So the dirt's finding it harder to actually stick to the bike. One place I always forget, under that mudguard. Very gentle around the radiator, trying not to break any of those fins. But I'm also aware that it was full of dead flies and all kinds of crap. So give it a bit of a rinse. Right, there we go. That is the washing and the rinsing. And as you can see, that hasn't taken me long. And now, although I haven't got it ready, I will quickly go off camera, because the way I dry my is with a big leaf blower. And I find that this is the quickest, most effective way of getting a vast quantity of that water that's now stuck all over the bike off. So bear with me with the noise. Well, for the sake of the video, I think that's dry enough. I think I'll probably leave it out in the wind. It's quite windy here today, and that would help to dry it, but that's the basic process. Let's take the camera a bit closer. You can probably just sort of see from that little clean how clean everything is, and I attribute that to the fact that I will now coat this with silicone spray. I mean, there's loads of other things on the market that you can use, but in reality silicone spray is pretty cheap, and that's why, well, that's one of the reasons why I use it. So look, there's a little bit of grease there, look, see, it's gone now. So yeah, there you go, that's the sort of basic cleaning that I do of my bikes. And well, I hope that sort of helps people. There's a lot of questions about how you clean bikes, and for me it seems pretty easy and simple. So there you go, soap in a sprayer, then you can get it where you want it. Don't worry about it being all foamy unless that's what you really like. Pre-soak the bike, so get it nice and wet first and then soap it. Even, it's probably worth soaping it and then leaving it for 5 to 10 minutes to really let the soap work into the dirt. A bit like soaking your dishes at home. And then a sponge or a mitten, something like that, so you can get into all of the little cracks and areas that you possibly might not be able to get to. And then a very light rinse down with, I mean, you can use a hose pipe, that's fine. Or a pressure washer on low pressure, and then dry it. This is about 90% dry now. Off camera I think I'll just give it one more dry, and then in the next video I'm going to coat it and wipe it down. So thanks for watching, and you know, please subscribe to my videos and see some more stuff. Cheers for now.